Yeah, I don't know how well the audio levels are going to be YouTube versus me. Let me just hit this real quick.
Preamps may actually...
Let's see. Turn this up. Sorry.
...be just as important, if not more important, to your recordings.
Let me know if this YouTube is too quiet or too loud compared to my voice. So what I want to talk about today, and you know, this is, you guys are probably sick of me harping on about this if you've heard me talk about this before, but this constant nonsense about where they're like, you need to buy this piece of gear to make it sound better, and they don't define better. They don't actually test it. Like, they always talk about how much of a difference mic preamps make, even though we've been through this a billion times, right? When you actually test them, how much of a difference a cable will make, how much of a difference this version of a compressor versus that version of the same compressor makes. And the thing they never do is provide actual measurements where you can look and see this one does this, that one does that. It's +1 at 100 decibels or 100 hertz, -3 at 250 hertz, whatever. You never see that. Oh, and yeah, I popped this onto Evidence-Based Audio Engineering channel, which I haven't used in a very long time. Kind of have to take this one off of my main channels because it's, of course, it shouldn't be controversial, but it is controversial. So many times when people are saying this is better than that or whatever, they fall back to use your ears. Use your ears, bro. Use your ears. I'm going to play it. I know some of you guys are sick of this, sick to death of this, I'm sure. But here's using your ears. Okay.
Ba, ba, ba.
Have a look at this. What do you hear?
Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba.
But look what happens when we change the picture.
Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba. Ba.
And yet, the sound hasn't changed. In every clip, you are only ever hearing bar with a B.
Ba, ba. Ba.
It's an illusion known as the McGurk effect.
Okay. Use your ears, bro. And some morons actually go out there and, well, if this website loads or not, maybe it won't. On my website, when it does load, you can actually see when you actually test one mic preamp versus another, what parameters even matter. Their frequency response, right? How flat is it over? Let me pop up an EQ here. Let's do that. Maybe that's easier way to do this. I'll shamelessly put our EQ on here. So if you're looking at a flat line, maybe let's do some noise. Let's add some noise. Test tone. And I'm going to turn this down because this is going to be annoying as could possibly be. Okay, so let's see. There's a sine wave, 1 kilohertz sine wave right here. So this is frequency from left to right, low to high, right? And this is level, the up and down. Okay, so we're gonna go to white noise. Okay, so this is allegedly flat across the whole spectrum. So let's say we added a device, and in this case, I'm just going to do something ridiculous. This would be re-EQ, and let's say there's a difference in frequency response. See if we can make it so we can really see it. Now, all of a sudden, we're seeing a little bit more this bump here around 300 hertz, same place I'd put on the EQ. But let's just say that you had this warmer mic preamp, and so you would see a different frequency response. And you might test that in a better way by actually putting a sweep on here. We'll put a sweep here. Start from 20 hertz and go up to 20 kilohertz. And let's watch this sweep go through. Now, this is a logarithmic sweep, so it's going to drop 6 decibels every octave. But I guess we don't have to get into the super minutia about that. But you can actually measure this stuff. So is it flat? You can measure it. There's free software out there. I'd really like to know why my website isn't loading, but we'll deal with that later. So this software right here, Room EQ Wizard, you can just grab this and you can make all these tests. When people make these claims, when I get kicked off of forums for disputing these claims, this is a free product that you can, I think it's free. Yeah, it's donationware. You can test all this stuff. So let's say the bandwidth, right? If this device hurts your bandwidth, let's check what happens there. Let's say that, and let me put it back on white noise. Let's say that the device has a bandwidth only down to 100 hertz. Okay, let me make this a little bit less steep. Okay, you would see this little slope here. You could actually make this slopier. That's a peaking filter. Should actually use this. This would actually be a better. See the blue line right here. So that's your bandwidth, your frequency response, your bandwidth, and then there's distortion and there's noise. These are all things you can measure. So every time you see these videos where they just say, this is so much better. This is shootout. They show these Chappers, whatever video, the guy's blindfold. Can I tell the difference between this amp and that amp and stuff? Measure the stuff. It's just like this DAW nulling stuff like Weaver Beats has been putting out lately about, he's actually watching Whitesey's videos on DAW summing. And when we were first making Reaper, we could null files between DAWs. You could prove that they had the exact same output. And even if those files nulled, there would be people out there who would say, no, they sound different. They still sound different. Even though they null, they sound different. And so, I don't want to pick on this guy. I'll say it. So hopefully, I don't know. Does this hurt when I say his name? Andrew Chapman Creative. He does a lot of videos kind of like this. This one is called $299 interface versus $2,000 mic preamp. Can you hear the difference? Okay. So right off the bat, before you do anything else, measure them. Run a signal through them. Let's see what the difference is. And man, I'm really bummed that my website is not showing up because I've done all this, and I've got to figure that out. But you could get to it on the Wayback Machine. I've done all this. You test these things. Most of these mic preamps are ruler flat, have the same amount of distortion. Some of them have more noise than the others, but the modern designs tend to have less. I know that's scary, but let's. So $200 to $300 interface versus $2,000 mic preamp. Can you hear the difference? Okay. First of all, establish there is a difference. Okay. That's the first thing you got to do. And in our tests, we've shown that you can get a Focusrite solo interface and null it with some of the most expensive mic preamps out there. There are ones that cheat a little bit, add a little bit of high-end boost and stuff, but you can EQ those out. There's a lot of claims about transformers adding distortion and stuff, but it's not usually all that audible. And when you actually test, and I know, put it up here. When you actually test this stuff, and of course we've shown this a million times. all these people who claim they can hear this mic preamp versus that mic preamp, they can't. They end up picking like the cheapest ones out there as the best. It's nonsense, like wine tasting. I know some people are gonna be mad about that, but in truth, sorry, you guys are as crazy as the violin toned wood people. All right, so maybe should we play some of this? I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Let's see.
Than the microphone choice itself. Hear me out. I know that's a claim, but you're listening to me.
Okay, let's hear the first claim.
Preamps may actually be just as important, if not more important, to your recordings than the microphone choice itself.
Okay. Assuming a preamp works. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Let's say a preamp works. It's acceptably low noise, acceptably low distortion, acceptable bandwidth for the source you're going to record. And that's a big one. You do not need to record down to 20 hertz when you're recording a cymbal, for instance, right? If you got a wash tub bass, you probably don't need to record past like 3K. You're probably gonna, but I doubt you need it. Bandwidth's got to be flat enough. Distortion's got to be low enough. After that, no. That mic preamp, it couldn't possibly. A cardioid mic versus an Omni mic? Are you nuts? You know? Like, of course. Oh, okay. Let's see.
Hear me out. I know that's a claim, but you're listening to me talk through the SM57, and I'm going into the SSL2 Mark II. You can see my voice right there. Well, I bet you're going to be able to hear a difference. Same exact microphone, same exact placement, same.
Okay. Says levels have been matched. Do we want to maybe download this YouTube video and actually take a look at that? Because right off the bat, I think you can hear there's more bass in here. It could just be louder.
Well, I bet you're going to be able to hear a difference. Same exact microphone. Same.
He is closer. Okay, hold on. Let's get a little bit better of a sample size, because he is moving closer and farther. And if you know an SM57, which he's talking into right there, you know there's a tremendous amount of proximity effect. In fact, that's how a lot of us decide what our snare is going to sound like, right? How close are you putting that capsule to the snare? How much thump do you want in that snare mic?
There. Well, I bet you're going to be able to hear a difference. Same exact microphone, same exact placement, same room. The only difference is you're listening to that microphone plugged into the Rupert Neve Designs Newton channel. You can hear a difference, can't you? You see, I think that the preamp is maybe the best.
Okay, so if that mic preamp is making a difference, I'm pretty sure that SSL mic preamp is reasonably flat. And I mean, now I wish I could show you my page, because when I say reasonably flat, we're talking within like 1/10 of a decibel. It's insanely flat. And if this mic preamp is actually sounding different, it's doing something unintended to your microphone signal. It's adding low end, or it's taking away mid range, or it's adding high end. It's doing something. I want something flat. Okay. So before you do any of this stuff, measure them. Let's just see. Did you even measure it? That's why I titled this video, Did You Even Measure It? If you showed me a measurement and you see this, if this mic preamp looks like this on the frequency response, I'd expect it to sound the way it sounds right there. So, you want something to unintentionally change your stuff in a way that you didn't mean for it to do it? Is that better? Is it always better to have more highs? Is it always better to have more lows? I don't want more lows in my cymbal mic, right? I want flat.
First studio upgrade right behind like a good set of monitors. So today we're going to compare 3 preamps at drastically different price points. I've got one at $259, I've got one at $1,000, and I've got another at $2,000. So you can hear them all for yourself. Let's get into it.
Okay, so before we do anything else, let's measure those. So that's going to be the very first thing that he does right here. As soon as we get past his intro and his channel log, whatever, we're going to measure these things, and then we're going to know exactly what it's doing, and then we're going to maybe do a listening test. But, you know, if there's no difference, there's no need for a listening test. If you can see a giant difference, there's kind of no need for a listening test, because you know it's broken. I mean, if it's doing something, it's kind of broken. I know as guitar players, we intentionally distort our guitars, but man, look at the arguments over which distortion they like for what purpose and stuff. So you're not going to say this is better. Something that distorts your sound is never going to be better for everything. Like I don't want a distorted acoustic guitar necessarily. I might actually, but I don't want it to distort when I don't want it to distort. I'll play this
Hey,
thing.
commenter, give me a sec. This is a miracle. The fact that these things even exist is amazing. The fact that they exist at a pretty low price point is a miracle. If this is all you can afford, you could take over the world with something like this. This is good enough.
And this is that argument from Cantifordium. You know, they're like, you know, I always get in these arguments over this guitar tone wood. And so what the guys always tell me is, well, you couldn't afford to hear any of these good guitars. Think about it. I've recorded the biggest artists in the world. They've had whatever guitar they want. And, no, I've heard it. And that's not an argument anyway. Just because you're not rich doesn't mean that that math is different for you. Math is math. Physics is physics. Tree rings are tree rings, which should put an end to the tonewood debate. But this whole, if that's all you can afford, it's good enough. Well, show me that the other thing is any better. So I haven't seen this test yet, but I'm sure the test is coming.
However, the other side to that is to say that there is no difference between the preamps that are built into those things and a dedicated outboard preamp would also be doing you a disservice. And in fact, there's a lot of marketing dollars that are spent to imply just that. It's just as good as this, or, oh, this plugin does the same exact thing. Think of how many plugins that sells. So let's talk about what a preamp actually does.
Well, let's talk about you actually testing this and seeing how these are different.
And why I chose the microphone that I did. You know, it's funny, even this SM57, it's not even plugged in anymore. If I speak into it, it will actually generate a signal. Like my voice will vibrate the capsule and that will create a small amount of voltage, but it's infinitesimally small. Like it's super tiny. It's what they call mic level signal. And in order to actually be able to record that signal, we need to send it through a preamp that will bring it up to line level signal. So it's just increasing the voltage. This is where I think a lot of skeptics jump in because they'll say, oh, it's just an increase in voltage. There's no difference between, you know, this preamp or that preamp.
No. What the skeptics. So we know that there's a difference, and we've spent decades to try and refine that because the process of amplifying something, you know, you're introducing all kinds of noises, you're introducing distortion, you are, you know, think about like crossover distortion. Just when you're, how are you amplifying that? Is it class B? Is it class AB? Is it class A? There's so many things that go into this to get the cleanest signal you can. So you're trying to, I mean, a lot of the original mic designers, that the ideal, and it's still to this day, is a straight wire with gain. I would like it to just be louder, but things happen. And so there's compromises that have to be made. Hopefully, as is the case today, those compromises put the signal at such a low level that it's inaudible to us.
And to me, I feel like, you're just missing so much of the fun because it's kind of like comparing like a loaf of store-bought sandwich bread to a loaf of artisan sourdough. Same ingredients. You got, you know, your flour, water, salt, maybe some yeast, but drastically different terms we're going to use today. So I've got 3 preamps that we're going to use to shoot out against the built-in preamps of the SSL2 Mark II. I'm going to give you, and then.
Okay, so we're just hearing audio examples, not tests.
It was level matched, I promise. Nope. Of all to the guitar that was recorded, you heard in same, you got so much more out of that microphone, right?
No,
So
wait, what?
It's a classic. You got so much more out of that microphone, right?
Why?
So
Why did we get more? What do you mean by more? What do you mean by more? Did we get louder overall? Then just turn it down. Did we get louder bass than we would have gotten before? Well, I don't want that. I want it flat. Did we get more distortion or less noise? I'd like the less noise. But the noise levels of a modern mic preamp are pretty low. I haven't had that SSL, but I imagine it's pretty much the same as any of the other mic preamps that are ruler flat today. Let's see.
The first is bigness. The second is going to be the particular flavor.
So here's when you get every religious argument ends up like this. How much bigness? What's character? Ask these guys to define character anytime. And you're gonna, if you're lucky, they're gonna mean distortion, but they can't. Again, like when SOS did the mic preamp challenge, when every other mic preamp challenge that's ever been made, these guys can't pick one mic preamp from another. So their whole thing about character is just nonsense.
Color and saturation.
Yeah,
that it
color.
brings.
Color.
And then last but not least is going to be its stackability. So how well does it work whenever you're recording like 15?
These are like myths from remember the 90s? Like everybody was carrying around their one mic preamp, and they're like, well, you can't use a bunch of Trident mic preamps because they stack up. Man, Ethan Weiner's covered this stuff.
20 tracks all start stacking up. Does everything sit in a mix cohesively, or is there something that sticks out like a sore thumb?
Notice this is one of the hallmarks of religion is religion is allergic to precision. They'll never use words that you can actually test, right? So if he wants to say distortion, we can test that. You want to say frequency response, we can test that. You want to say bandwidth, we can test that. Noise, we can test that. Instead, you're going to use these like wine taster words, and they don't mean anything. So let's just find, looks like I'm picking on this guy. This is no different than any of these shootout videos where like this guitar player with I've got an accent, so I must be right. And they play this guy. Listen to that. Listen to the beautiful sound it makes. And it's like the same sound. Anyway, so let's just find where they actually do the testing.
All right, let's talk about the preamps. Now, the first one that I've got here is the Black Lion Audio Tour. You are listening to the sound of this preamp right now in this talking.
Look, see, here you go again. Religious terms, clarity and detail. Really? What units are you measuring that? Mid forward. Hey, now, do you want the mid forward? How many guitar players have a smiley face scooped EQ on their amp, right? I don't think you always want mid forward. I just want it flat. Punchy transients, right? What do you mean by that? What are you measuring that? Open chime on the top end. How are you measuring that? Are you saying that this artificially introduces more treble than it would have had otherwise? I don't want that. I don't want this hissy stuff on a low end track.
These things are incredible for the price. Really, like $259.
All right, this is just religious terms. Let's see if they
mark on this valves.
Yeah, see, this is where you really get this.
Give it a rating in all of the three categories. So for
sometimes people, see right there, they'll tell you, oh, this is a better for this. Like I actually saw a forum post where somebody said, well, you can't use that pickup on a mahogany body guitar, as if it makes any difference, right? If it's great on guitar amps and vocals, it's great on anything, right? If it's great on drums, it's great on anything. Show me something that doesn't overlap all three of those. Get out of here. Okay, so let's find the test.
The full preamp, if you're going for all
look,
character,
see, get some religious terms, numbers.
It's not clean for stackability or stale or clinical. It's clean. It's pleasant.
It's clean. So you must have measured the distortion.
But except we've got the Universal Audio, the Twin, my all-time. So let's give it. It sounds great.
Okay.
So
look, let's see what he's great on. It's great on the same stuff except for not drums for some reason.
Preamp.
Okay.
Don't worry about three harmonic spots.
So still looking for the tests here.
Just down of my dollars, top of the budget. This is what it sounds like. I like this preamp a lot. I think it's great, and it's actually a channel strip. It's not just a preamp.
Ooh, energy. It's got energy, like crystal energy, like flat Earth energy, hi-fi sheen, texture, clarity.
So got an EQ. You can sell, but turn almost 5%. Just cover some of it too much. I live away information. But I read back. Reason why I get up.
Test. You can find the test.
Compressor like you that you don't. Every says I'm not here. Totally. Other people call it clean. Yes, you could stuff in 59-bit interamp amp, and you give of what is it bring adding in the post. Brought out a lot of track. All right, like this. Please consider comments. Will provide you with some value.
So there you go. Did you even measure it? No, you never measure it. You just babbled religious terms about this thing. Again, I'm not picking on this guy. All these channels do this stuff. These nonsense channels. So first, show me that there's what the difference is, if there's a difference, and then let's go and listen to it. Because then we'll say, hey, because it does this, it might be better for that. But just saying it's different, test it first. Did you even measure it? No, you didn't measure it.